Hello and welcome to Raj Sabha TV. I'm Amritanshu Rai. You're watching Constitutionally Yours. In this program, we make an attempt to demystify the constitutional. And joining me in this endeavor are a distinguished panel of guests. Mr. Noor Khan, he is the District Session Judge nominated by the Chief Justice of the Meghalaya High Court. Mr. Andrew Simmons, he is Secretary Legislature nominated by the Speaker of the Meghalaya Legislative Assembly. And we have with us Mr. Jemino Mawthoh. He is an MLA and has been nominated by the Leader of Opposition of the Meghalaya Legislative Assembly. And joining us in the audience are students from Northeastern Hill University. And we are here in Meghalaya High Court, Shillong campus. According to the state's responsibility and the centre's responsibility, the two main aspects that are in context to Meghalaya are agriculture and industry, and both are hugely lagging behind, because this is where developmental economics comes into play, and that is where the state will get growth, and that is where the state will get revenues. And if that doesn't happen, then we have a little bit of a problem. Straight away start off with you, sir. The state of agriculture, I mean, huge potential, horticulture wise, fishery wise, I mean, forest wise, forest produce wise, there is unlimited scope. And one of the best produce, in fact, I have tried some of the produce here, it is completely international quality. But how come it has not been able to take off the way it should?
Well, I don't exactly know what are the problems that ail the primary sector, agriculture. But let me tell you, if 80% of the people, or more than 80% of the people...
68% are involved with agriculture.
Then
That's
I feel...
a huge majority.
That is a huge, majority of the population. But I feel as far as development in agriculture is concerned, I think we have to really see whether Meghalaya is really feasible as far as agriculture is concerned. If we talk about horticulture, maybe yes.
Horticulture comes under agriculture.
Yeah.
I mean, it's part of the same subject.
Specifically of horticulture, maybe. But if you talk about agriculture, you have to also understand the hilly imperatives and all that. If you talk about food grain production, because most of the time, as a state, we are still relying on...
you are importing food grains.
Yeah, we're importing food grains, we're importing vegetables, we're importing meat, we're importing everything from outside.
Correct.
So if we are importing from outside, it means that as far as this sector is concerned, I think the government has failed in this regard. And why it has failed, we really also have to understand the problem. Now, there are problems relating to land issues, there are problems relating to land ownership, there are problems relating to land distribution, and so on, so forth. There are problems related to, the way people at the grassroots level, their perspective as far as modernization of agriculture is concerned. So all these things has to be looked into and to find out about the feasibility of, developing agriculture here in the state. So I feel that, we have to relook into this, because if 68%, like you said, are from the, are from the...
Dependent on agriculture. And agriculture, sir, when I say agriculture, it is, I essentially include fisheries, horticulture, meat production, and other land-based produce. That's what I mean by agriculture. So that's also food grain production. You would like to add, why are we not being able to get there as far as agriculture is concerned? I mean, this state hugely depends on meats. Why has the state not been able to provide enough infrastructure to ensure that state government doesn't even have a meat farm? I mean, that's the state of affairs in this state. Whereas, it's one of the highest consuming meat consuming states.
Well, the government has been trying to look into all these affairs. And as far as I think in the budget speech itself, the government has highlighted of what has been done. The government has started an organic verification program. That's one of them. And then it also has an organic mini tea factory at Umsning, known as Tea. That is one of the things. And the government continues to lay emphasis on the state rice mission scheme and the national food security mission and improved varieties. So these are another thing. The government is discouraging the use of chemical fertilizers and chemical pesticides. So these are some
That's
steps
the organic push of the Prime Minister.
Yeah. So
but very little that the state can take claim for.
So the state has been trying to do whatever it can. I mean, within its capacity.
Resources.
I mean,
okay, I get the point. You're constrained to answer these questions. Have you in the judicial part, are there cases relating to infrastructure creation for agriculture? Are people coming to the judiciary with seeking relief on such issues?
You see, when people, as I said that, you see, citizens, they approach the court when there is any infraction of their rights, when there is violation of any rights. Now, I don't think so far as my memory goes, any PIL with regard to these matters, when large chunk of people, they are affected by certain policies or the rights are affected, then those matters are taken up as a public interest litigation.
See, state government has claimed that as far as GDP is concerned, it has gone up to 15%. Now, if there is growth as far as GDP is concerned, where is this growth happening in the primary sector? Where is this growth happening in the secondary sector? Maybe tertiary sector to a certain extent. Now, this is something that needs to be looked into. And if you talk about growth, so much that, that claim that we'll be able to contribute to national development in 6 to 7 years, where is growth for the youths? There is jobless growth here in the state of Meghalaya. Well, so there's a lot of contradictions here.
Yeah, questions.
How, in your opinion, will the goods and services tax, if implemented in the state of Meghalaya, affect the agriculture of the state?
I think there is a general consensus on the part of the legislators all across the country with this GST coming in. I think it will be able to check, okay, as far as when we talk of revenue realization and all that. I think it will definitely help. And as pointed out by Mr. Andrew Simons, this will be taken up in the assembly and we will be deliberating this at length. But I feel that it is welcoming on the part of the state of Meghalaya also.
I'll also clarify on that. GST, basically what does GST do? It creates one tax structure for the entire country. So earlier there were several different types of tax structures. So state had its own separate tax structures, the center had its own. So now the central government, and through consensus, the GST has been arrived at. The 2 or 3 items which are kept out of GST is tobacco, alcohol, and one more thing. So barring these 3 things, the rest of these products and everything, so there will be one tax structure collected by the center, and every state will have its own share of it, and the center will have its own share. So that is what it does. It creates one uniform market.
Modern agriculture techniques is one of the main problems. So the question is, what are the steps taken by the government to deal with this problem, sir?
Mr. Andrew Simons had highlighted that some of the initiatives has been taken by the government as far as promotion of agriculture is concerned. But like I said, there are problems here. We also have, we see that there is also a disconnect between the government and the people. See, people's perception is something different. They go with the traditional mode of cultivation and all that. It is a slow process. Now this modernization of agriculture and the coming in of technology has come into the fore. But there is, when we talk about the general acceptance on the part of the people, I think that has to be, it has to go in such a way that people has to be made to understand that this is something good for them. Because when I look at agriculture here, our approach is more on subsistence level, but not on marketing and profitability and so on and so forth. I think it is a time to look at agriculture from that perspective also. not only to produce just for the subsistence at the subsistence level only, but we have to think about the marketability, and we have to think about how to market a produce for profit and so on and so forth.
Anything
If
you'd
that
like to
comes
add,
in,
sir?
then technology also will come.
I can say only one thing on this. Necessity does not know any law, but it knows only to prevail. So when it becomes a necessity of a person, it will automatically prevail. You don't require any law for that. It will prevail.
Sir, anything you'd like to add?
Well, I feel, I mean, this migration of youths from the rural to the urban areas, I think that also hampers, I mean, the agriculture sector.
So there are not enough hands
Yeah.
and in the rural areas to actually perform difficult tasks of
Right, so-
agriculture. Agriculture
No,
on the
it should
hills.
it should be appealing and attractive also.
Okay,
If
so
it
it's
is
not
not
appealing.
and attractive,
So
then,
it's very drab
yeah.
and dreary and
Yeah.
drudgery is there. Okay, next question.
There has been a demand by prominent farmer unions in the state about implementing the policy which has the agricultural policy which has been implemented in Punjab and Haryana, which, as we know it, was a huge success for the country as a whole. But since Meghalaya is following jhum cultivation, will it be the same success here?
The Department of Agriculture has not done anything in this regard. They have been doing, but as far as going by the policy, what has been done in Punjab and other states, I don't know really whether it's being replicated here in the state of Meghalaya or not.
Mizoram.
Yeah.
Mizoram has a similar society, similar backdrops, similar problems, similar issues. Mizoram could, has.
No, we cannot say similar. Mizoram has got its own problems.
No, geographically.
Mizoram, no, geographically also. See, we have to talk about the socio-demographic aspect, all the aspects related to the people of these small states. See, what is happening in Sikkim cannot happen in Meghalaya. What is happening in Meghalaya cannot happen in Nagaland. What is happening in Mizoram. Now, these are very complex issues, but most of the time, the whole northeastern states has been clubbed as one composite area, as if what will happen in the state of Mizoram can also be replicated in the state of Meghalaya.
I
It should
stand
not
corrected.
be treated, as one composite area. We have our own inherent problems here in Meghalaya, and likewise in other states of the northeast also they have their own inherent problems.
So you
but
like to add
but
something?
the government of India has always labelled as one composite area, that we are the same. We are northeasterners, so policies has to be, what is being done in one state has to be done in all the states.
Right. You like to add to that?
So policies and programs all, I mean, being formulated by the government of the day. So I mean, government looks at every aspect. I mean, so I think,
Okay.
but I think there's a lot of improvement. Huh?
It's time for us to head into a break. When we come back, we will take up the issue of industry and the development of industry in the state of Meghalaya. Welcome back. Meghalaya has a rich base of natural resources, including coal and limestone and forest resources, but industry is yet to take off. I mean, the way industry has been lagging behind, one of the possible arguments for the industry not being able to take off is also the way autonomous councils are fashioned, because every industry requires land to start off, and that's where it comes into conflict with the autonomous council. So industry has not really taken off, and is it time, for the sake of the development of Meghalaya, the contradiction of land be resolved? That's the question we are going to address. Yeah.
We see that in the state of Meghalaya, there are a very few number of people who are entrepreneurs. And seeing this, we see that agriculture is also lagging behind. So do you think that the state of Meghalaya should follow the footsteps of Japan and Taiwan and actually move the people away from agriculture and into manufacturing?
We also have to understand and look at the state all around us, the opportunities that are there, whether there are opportunities or not. Yeah, when we say that, industries has to be set up, whether it's small scale, it's medium or large scale industries has to be set up to address the issues of, unemployment in the state, and to utilize the resources that we have here in the state of Meghalaya. But then, if you look at the industries out here, how has it helped the people in the state of Meghalaya? If we talk about small-scale industries or village industries, if we talk about the cost involvement, it is a little bit too much. And then it is very difficult also for us to even compete, with people from outside the state. And then if you have big industries, we have the industrial park, we have the industrial area, we have these big industries, focusing on steel and ferroalloy and all that. How has it benefited the people of the state of Meghalaya? If you look at the policies that has been there, it says that we should attract investors from outside. Now we are attracting investors from outside, but I think subsidies are being given to them. They come here only for subsidies, and that's it. But how has it benefited the people of the state of Meghalaya as far as employment is concerned, as far as productivity is, as far as
So there's
utilization?
no real study to that effect.
No, it has not really taken off from, in the right perspective. And by the coming of these industries, now you talk about cement or you talk about, coal industries and all that, they have destroyed the environment completely. Destroyed the environment. There is deterioration on the part of the natural environment, and we have not been able to really address this issue also. Now, this is an area of concern. Land is very important. Land is very crucial, but whatever resources that we have here also have been, have not been properly utilized, and we've destroyed the environment. So when we talk of industry, we have to see, what are the industries that are feasible, in the state of Meghalaya. Tourism industry, for instance, education, for instance. Now, these are some of the focus areas that we need to think, not having these big industries or small industries which are not really benefiting the people. So if you talk about how enterprising we are, it also depends on the opportunities that are there. If there are no opportunities, how can we be enterprising?
Sir, you'd like to add to that? The point is, what he's made is very valid, that the industry has come in, they come here mostly for subsidies, there's very little benefit in terms of employment that goes for the people. And on top of that, the environment also is impacted. Now that's a reasonable way of looking at it. But industry obviously has to generate employment, and any investment that comes in has to create employment, and also in an environment friendly manner, which is the prevailing policy all across India right now. Where is Meghalaya as far as this is concerned?
Yeah, there are two aspects. I mean, what Sir Jemino said, that's also another aspect. Another aspect is that industrialization is yet to take off in our state because of many factors. Say like we do not have railways here. Railways are supposed to reach Burnihart, but at the same time we are having problem with the certain organizations. I mean, so that has yet to take off. And we have militancy problem in, say like in Garo Hills sector. And here we had agitational programs from time to time in the earlier days. So these are things which we have to examine, and the government has to take all the
aspects into
consideration, and at the same time it has to take into its confidence the various pressure groups. I mean, for
that are there
for attracting investment from outside on bringing industrialization. So these are the things which we are having a problem right now.
You'd like to add something?
No, so far as industrialization, I just confined to impact on the environment.
Yeah.
What I understand is, you see, the state needs to develop. So we follow the principle laid down by the United Nations and then followed by the highest court. We work out on the sustainable development. And then of course at the smaller level, polluter and pay policy. So these are the things has to be there in our mind. We just cannot stop development saying that we are preserving the environment. But that balance has to be struck. The development has to come, but at what cost? It has to come at the principle of the sustainable development. Balance has to be struck, that how do we preserve the environment as well as sustain the development. At the small level, we have the Environment Act provides for that. Polluter pay policy, and I think it has been enforced also now. So these are the things that will just keep the the entrepreneurs and industrialists keep their feelers on, that they, you see, they cannot encroach and damage the environment and just walk out.
If there is any dispute with regard to the tribals and with the establishment of the industry in Meghalaya, so which one will prevail if suppose the industrial establishment in Meghalaya, and if there is a dispute with regard to the rights of the tribals, so what in your opinion should be the your opinion with regard to that problems?
You see, you have to understand, when you say industry, industries will not have a dispute. When you say that, you have to understand the
individual entrepreneur.
Yes, when you have to understand the concept of dispute. A dispute cannot be abstract. We cannot have a dispute with an abstract entity.
I'll clarify. Individual entrepreneur vis-a-vis tribal rights.
All right. So these are the, if you say that these industries, we can bring it down so that they can be identified. Under there might be a company, so a corporates. So these are the entities which can be sued, So now you say that if there is a dispute, now you see, please try to understand one thing.
What right will prevail, the tribal or the industrial?
No, you see, industries, so far as the constitution of the industries is under the Company Act. So like they have got you see, the act only makes the industry's existence. All right. Now when it comes to dispute, please be very clear. We cannot have preemptive adjudication. Please be very clear. We cannot make any comment on adjudication which is yet to come. So if at all the dispute comes, we will decide it in accordance with law. We cannot have a preconceived mind that if the dispute comes, this will be the answer. So
got it. I understood. So, tribal rights, obviously in a state like Meghalaya, where autonomous councils are there, and if there is a industry that's operating, individual entrepreneur, in case there is a dispute, whose idea should prevail? Is it the tribal or the industry point of view?
I feel tribal rights should have supremacy because of the customary laws framed by the district council.
You'd like to add to that?
No, development is important, but we also have to put, when we talk of development, we have to put people first. That is very important. We see development, we bring in development, but at what cost? You look at the NOCs that has been given, okay, as far as these cement companies are concerned. Now, how has those NOCs been given? Now, why were they given? In what way has it helped the tribal people? And in fact, it has led to the destruction of the environment, and this too at a very large scale. Now, this needs to be stopped. We cannot, I'm not saying that development should not come, like Mr. Khan had just said. We should talk about sustainability also when we talk of development.
So the environmental laws have evolved substantially, and the laws are crystal clear as far vis-a-vis development is concerned. So that evolution has happened, and that's the same for the country, the entire country.
Yeah, but when it comes to signing of the MOUs and all that, with some, maybe it's okay. With others, it may not be okay.
Correct. So that's at the implementation, executing stage. That needs to be
rectified.
Also brought into
Corrected,
the entire MOU. Next question.
Sir, in a case pending before the court, with respect to the two village heads recognized by the district council, what would be the position, what would be their position in the meantime before the court can come up with a decision?
You see, just two things when you're talking about some disputes. Now, first of all, we will make it very clear. There are certain procedures. There are certain procedures laid down by law for adjudication. Now, when you say the dispute represented by the headman in a court, when you come back to the civil procedure court, if you come to Order 1, Rule 8, these are representative suits. There's the biggest problem. You see, now if I represent 100% and file a suit, and the decision is binding on the 100%, what happens? Do you have the authority to do that? So these are the basic things. You see, the fundamental things which needs to be set right. But on the other hand, we say that CPC is not applicable. Now, if CPC is applicable, the proper procedure will be that when a headman files a suit, then he have to crave the leave of the court to represent all other person. Otherwise, just few moments back when I say that corporates are legal entity, it can be sued and it can sue. Now the question comes is that, these are the questions, headman is a legal entity. Can it be sued and sue also? Can it represent people? What is the implication of the order passed by the court against the headman? Will it be binding on all the residents of the people? So these are the areas which needs to be addressed when you say about two headmen fighting. But let me tell you that when you say that two headmen are fighting, so far as my memory goes, somebody can correct me also, if such kind of dispute between two villages comes, that is within the domain of the district council. There is a Ilaka Act, and this Ilaka Act section 4 provides a tribunal to be constituted, and this tribunal will decide the dispute if it's a boundary dispute between two villages.
We are under the powers of the ADC. How independent is the functions and the powers of the governor vis-a-vis the Council of Ministers?
If you go to Article 200, Article 213, and even the district councils, all the lawmates, it has to get the assent of the governor. Now, there are two objectives there. One, all the laws passed by the, as I said in the beginning, all the law passed by the legislature is subject to conformity of the constitution. Now, at times when it is not in conformity, it is struck down. Now, when it is struck down, the legislature is not permitted again to bring that law. And that is why under Article 200 and 213, the matter is sent there before the governor to get the assent and not only this, Article 200 makes it very clear that even existence of the judiciary, any power of the judiciary any power of the High Court cannot be taken away by the legislature, Article 200 by any bill. So that is what it says that. So these checks nuts are already there in place. It is only to make use of this mechanism. So any of the bills or any of the law passed overlooking all these things, perhaps it can be
will get stuck somewhere or the other.
Yes.
So there are several checks and balances created in the scheme of things. So if the ADC passes something, then and if it is not in synergy with the constitution, either the state government will check it or the High Court will check it.
No.
So
no, the only thing, the High Court has got no business with the judiciary has got no business with the functioning of the legislature, but the only thing, it is the governor as the head of the executive
will check it.
That it is in conformity with the constitution as well as certain laws which has been held ultra vires. It cannot be passed again.
Correct.
But it cannot be like what has happened in the state of Arunachal Pradesh, no? Because of the deviation from constitutional provisions. I mean, this is what we saw, what happened in the Arunachal
the recent
Pradesh.
political.
Yes, governor may be a constitutional help, but the constitutional provision also has to be followed.
Has to prevail.
Which should be happy and judiciary intervene.
Yeah.
Finally, the judiciary had the last say.
Thank you very much, everyone, for participating in this show. We'll be back with a new episode, a new issue, and a completely new High Court campus. Keep watching Rajya Sabha TV.